Okay, we're going to learn about differential equations. We have touched on these very, very briefly, but we did them in a, not an incorrect way, but a really informal way. So we're going to formally learn how to actually do differential equations. Okay, and it's the first step that a lot of people get wrong. For free response questions, if it involves differential equations, usually a question like number 1 or number 2 would be worth 5 or 6 points. But people would not do the first step correctly, and they would lose all 5 or 6 points. The first step is not hard, okay? But people forget about it. So you should be good for the next couple weeks. But if we revisit this topic in like a month or two, you probably will forget to do the first step, which will be really, really upsetting. So I'm here to make sure that you don't forget to do the first step. Very good, Neelish. The first step, I'm assuming you read it, is to separate the variables. You want your y's on one side, your x's on the other. That includes dy dx. Okay? So since there's already a y over here, let's keep the y's over here. How do we get the dx over here? Okay. So I'm going to get dy equals 10x squared over root 1 plus x cubed dx. That's step 1. If you don't do step 1, you lose all of your points. Now, for this question 1 right here, this is not a difficult one. They wouldn't ask it, because usually there's like y's on the other side. So like at number 2, yes, there's a y on the other side. That's a more typical question. Okay? So, but separating your variables, that's the first step. You don't do that, you cannot get any credit. Okay, now what's step 2, Neelish? Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and integrate both sides just by doing that. Let's integrate the left side. What's the integral of dy? Very good. Isn't it y plus c? Yeah. But I'm going to put the plus c on the other side. So it'll all work out. How do I integrate the right side? Is there an integration technique that we know? First off, we just see if we can if there's a formula, we can just do it right away. If not, can we rewrite it? If not, can we use u sub? So you just said it. What is it? U sub. What am I going to let u equal? Which is du equals 3x squared. 1/3 du equals x squared dx. So I'm going to get, can I move that 10 out in front? And the 1/3 in front makes it a 10/3. Haven't integrated yet. Integral of the x squared dx goes away, so I'm left with 1 over root u du. Real quick, isn't that the same thing as u to the negative 1/2? Okay, so what's the antiderivative of u to the negative 1/2? You add 1 to get 1/2, so it's going to be u to the 1/2, and divide it by 1/2, which is the same thing as multiplying by 2. What am I slightly missing? Plus c. Let's simplify this now. I'm going to get 20/3. U to the 1/2, isn't that the square root of u? And what is the square root of u? And that's your first differential equation. Oh my god. Oh, it's such a great moment. Because they all don't involve u subs. Some of them are super simple to do. So let's go on to the next one. No weird integration techniques. It's just you need to do step 1 correctly. So what is step 1? How do you separate the variables? Cross multiply. It's not that hard, people. Y dy equals 2x dx. Okay, what's step 2? To the left side. What's the antiderivative of y? 1/2 y squared. Equals, what's the antiderivative of 2x? X squared plus c. Let's get y by itself. So how do you get y by itself? Multiply everything by 2. So we get y squared equals 2x squared. Do I really need to write 2 plus 2c?
I mean, no.
The c absorbs all numbers. If you want to, you can. But I can guarantee you there's no answer choice. If you're like, oh, if you want to make it a plus k because it makes you feel better about it being a new constant, be my guest. But you don't have to. Okay? So are we cool with me just doing this plus c? Okay. Because the c absorbs all. Because c just means a number. 2 times a number is still a number. It's an unknown number. And then what's the last step to get y by itself? Square root. So I'm going to get y equals. Nope. Because I'm doing a function thing to it. I'm not doing like a times 2, a divide by 2. I'm doing a square root. If I square it, I keep it. Square root it, I keep it. ln it, I keep it. I.e. it, I keep it. If I sine it, I keep it. I tan it, I keep it. Okay, I am missing one thing though. No one caught it. It's not cosine. Stop just yelling out trig functions.
Well, we're just,
Plus or minus.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Oh, you missed that. So you were going to talk about your chance.
Oh, okay.
You just, have it on banner, upstairs.
Okay, moving on. Okay, you ever see y prime as a trap? Just change y prime to dy dx. Okay. Want to finish this one on your own? See how you do? Let's see it. So go ahead and finish it up on your own. Make sure you separate your variables. If you start integrating right now, you get 0 points. It's over. Did I do anything wrong? Okay, good. What did I do wrong? Should be what? Try to see who's actually doing this. What did I do wrong? Doesn't cancel out. It should be. And then so the final answer is. Alright, I didn't leave myself a lot of room on that one. I left myself room on the first one. Did myself a lot of room on the second one. Okay, next one. Again, level of difficulty is not hard. You just need to separate your variables. Now, what's the first thing I said you do? It's a trap! What do you do? You're going to want to solve for dy dx first, and then cross-multiply it. Okay, what's really nice is for AB calculus, and even BC, the differential equations aren't that difficult. Okay, there is a whole course out there that does differential equations in college for 15 weeks. You do this for 15 weeks. Okay, we do first order differential equations and second order. The big deal here is it's always going to be dy dx equals some type of fraction. It could be a fraction of over 1, fine, but it's some type of fraction. Okay? Whenever we have to solve for it, that's all we do. You'll be given questions where it is like an x plus y on the other side, but you won't be asked to solve for it because you don't know how. Okay? So we'll get into those problems as we get to those. So we just want to get dy dx by itself. How do I do that? Add the 3e to the x. Now what? Divide by 4y. Okay? Like I said, it equals a fraction. Again, sometimes it'll equal just a fraction where it could have been like e through to the x, which is a fraction, because what would the denominator be? So if I just gave you dy over dx equals 3e to the x, I said that's a fraction, because what's the denominator? It's 1. So they're all fractions. Yes?
Why'd you put x and y on the same side this time?
Well, no, because I didn't start yet. I'm just trying to get this down to like one of these problems. Okay, so now what do I do? Cross multiply. All right. Some of you are probably. I'm wondering if you're just picking up on that I overdid everything. Great. I overdid it because I want you to do this right every single time, no matter the situation. The situation is you always get dy dx by itself. No matter what, you have to do that. And then no matter what, you cross multiply because it's a fraction. No matter what, you always have to do that. And then no matter what, get your y's and your x's by themselves after that. No matter what. Okay? I'm trying to teach you to do this one way, one technique, so you can work it every single time. I don't want to keep going through, well, in this situation, you do this, in this situation, and in this situation. I'm just telling you straight up. This is just the one way you need to know how to do it. If it's an extra step and you see it, then don't do it. Okay? So now, what do I do to both sides? You can probably finish it from here, right? Finish it up. I'll make another error somewhere so you can catch me. It's scary. Neelish, finish the problem.
I finished it while you were talking. Yeah.
Seriously?
We were just fighting, yeah.
Neelish has the problem finished?
Dude, Neelish, like, had the key, like, got it down. Here's the touchdown. After that, like, one more game. He's trying to shine. He said never again.
How am I doing, English?
Yeah, alright, keep going.
How am I doing, English?
Doing good.
How am I doing, English? It's supposed to be a 3. It's hard to write on a marker.
I agree, but I forgot the plus or minus. No, I did. Yeah.
Alright, did I make a mistake?
Did you?
I don't think I did. My mistake was not making a mistake. Alright, questions, comments, concerns on this?
The multiple choice answer might be
Alright, we're getting more difficult here. Okay. dy dx is by itself. So now what? Separate the variables. How do I do that? We don't want to, remember, we don't want to add stuff over. This is the one thing where I said you always have to do this the same way, then you will not fall into the trap. This is really over 1. So we should, let's just do it and we'll go from there. So dy equals 5 minus y. Put that as a parentheses, dx. That's packaged together. Okay? Are my variables on the correct side?
No.
How can I get them on the correct side? Divide by. Okay? Again, that helps you avoid the trap. It actually gets a little tricky from here. What do I do now? Integrate. Yeah, I agree. U sub on the left side. Some of you could just pick this up right now and I don't need to do U sub. I got it. Some of us aren't there yet. So let's just do a U sub. What's U? What's du? Negative dy. So negative du equals dy. So negative integral 1 over u du equals, I didn't do this side yet. We'll just do it. I'll just do a thing x. So we'll just do it in a second here. What's the antiderivative of 1 over u? Equals on the other side. X plus c. I do what now? Plug it back in. This is where it gets dicey. This is where you need to be really, really sharp at algebra. How do I get that y by itself now? By the way, for these problems, whenever you have these LNs, there's usually like many different ways to do it, and you get many correct answers. Like when I go on that Facebook group where the calc teachers will be fighting with each other. Is this one right? Is this one right? And then they'll like, no, that's not right for this reason. And like, no, this one is right. And I'm just like, I won't say my opinion on video. But anyway, so there's lots of different possible answers. If it's multiple choice, you just have to get the answer. Okay. So the first thing we should do here is, let's get rid of the negative first. So it's going to make it ln of 5 minus y equals negative x plus c. Now we do what? So we're going to e it. So remember that looping thing I showed you?
Kind of.
So it's the base here is e, so it's e to the that equals that. Whatever. My pre-calculus kids, they like it. It's so easy. Now what? Subtract 5. Now what? I'm gonna do something here. Hey, question.
If you divide by the negative to the ln, does it not come to the c to, like,
Yeah, same thing. Same thing. C absorbs all multiplication of numbers, addition of numbers, or whatever. What? I don't know. I go back to the video and watch it. I don't know. Hey, I'm gonna do this like really weird thing. You ready for it? You ready for it? You ready? You ready? I'm shaking the table. Alright, whenever I do exponentials, I do K's. I'll show you how this happened, why it happened, and why you should always do it. Okay, is this or is this not negative e to the negative x times e to the c?
Yes. Oh.
Yes?
Yeah.
So whenever I have an e to the c, I just change that to a k. Because e to the c is just a constant.
But it's a different.
I change. You can keep it as a c. I just change it to a k. That's just my preference. Because whenever I see exponentials, I just change it to k's. Just how I was raised. All right. So that's why I'm making that a k. So why? And I left out the negative sign. Why? Because k would absorb it. So that's why I get k e to the negative x plus 5. Okay. A lot of times, the multiple choice, they will not have this as a choice. They won't. They'll have this as a choice. And honestly, a lot of textbooks I've seen, they use K's for these situations. So, I was raised on K's. I'm going to raise you on K's. Want to try 6 on your own?
Yes.
Alright, go for it. Hey, we're just going to do 6 and then we're just going to move on afterwards. Nothing else here is of different interests. What?
Nothing. You got
Did I do something wrong?
no, I did something wrong.
It's okay, Neil. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, that's not good.
On the right side there, that was just infant use of, so I didn't bother doing it. So now I'm going to get y equals e to the ln of x plus 4 plus c. What do I do with the plus c in the exponential? Okay, e to the, now this is an ln of x plus 4. What does that e do that to the ln? Cancels it out, and I'm left with and that's it. Questions, comments on this? Okay, 7 and 8 are really just no different for techniques and stuff like that. Let's move on to 9. 9 and 10. Okay, we're going to write out the differential equation, and then we're going to solve for it. So the rate of change of y. What does that mean? Rate of change of y. Is equal to. Proportional to y. Okay, so this is going to be direct. I can't spell. D-I-R-E-C-T. That says direct. Can't tell it. Direct variation. Who remembers what direct variation is? That's a direct variation. Okay? So y equals kx. There's also inverse variation. Anybody remember what inverse variation is? When would you have learned this? In Algebra 2? Algebra 2? A long time ago. xy equals k. Okay, so let's go ahead and read through this. So it's proportional through direct variation. So the rate of change with respect to y, so it's this right here, is proportional to y. So it's not equals kx, it's equal ky. You're going to see why I just use the k all the time. Alright, so let's go ahead and separate our variables. So I'm going to do what? dy equals ky dx. Are they separated in the correct side? By the way, it's a constant. So what are we going to do? Divide by y, so it's dy over y equals k dx. Integrate, we get ln of y equals kx. Oh, hold up. Tiny little error here. I see this now. Respect to t. Look at these t's. Look at me go. Believe it or not, it's not that big of a deal, because they do not count against misspelling on the AP. misspelling an X for a T counts as misspelling. I know, I grade according to AP does. If you misspell a T as an X, then I have to go with it. Misspelling, I can't take off misspelling. But that was for that project that had a specific rubric that was tied to it. It had nothing to do with you. Okay, so I get Y by itself. E it, so we're going to E it, so we're going to get Y equals E to the KT plus C. So in this problem right here, since we have the two variables, I'm just going to leave the C. I'll just leave it like that. Because I already have a K in the problem. Just leave it. Okay, let's practice setting this next one up, and then we'll just kind of leave it. Let's just set it up. So the rate of change of P with respect to T is proportional to 10 minus T. So how would we set this one up? Using the exact same model as last time. dP over dt. Good start, Neelish. Equals. And that's it. Okay? I'm just going to give you just the final answer, so if you want to work through it, you can. And the last thing is just verifying. Super easy to do. It's rarely asked because of how easy it is. I made these tests a long time ago. I couldn't tell you. To determine whether each function is a solution to the differential equation, so all you're going to do is you're going to find y double prime, you're going to find y, and you're going to see if you take y double prime minus y equals 0. That's it. So I have y. How do I find y double prime? Very good. You find y prime first, which is so what's y double prime? So y double prime minus y equals 0. Well, negative sine x minus sine x equals 0. Is that true? Who knows? So you get negative 2 sine of x equals 0, so no! Not work. It must be. I'm going to bold my exclamation point a little bit. Alright, what about B? Do you think this one works? I would hope so. It's in the notes. Why would they have one not work? Okay, so let's go through it. So we have y. What's y prime? Negative 4 e to the negative x. Mini chain rule right there. Y double prime. Okay, so I have y prime. I have y double prime.